Alright, so we're back. I'm gonna restart. Okay, so the whole idea behind the live that I'm doing today is anger. I've retitled the live. I'm trying to get people to come on and have conversations about it. Hopefully, if everything works out, I'll be able to keep it nice and short, get some interactions, and then upload this onto my YouTube and edit it into another episode of my Overcoming Obstacles podcast. So, what I've been trying to do is use another platform and go live so that I have live interactions. I want people to get involved and to start commenting and hopefully get into some kind of conversations with people. If you're watching this on YouTube, you won't be able to see all of the comments that I'm getting. All that you're gonna see is what I upload to YouTube. And if you're on TikTok, the whole reason I'm doing this live is I'm going to save it and then upload it into YouTube and make an episode of my podcast, Overcoming Obstacles. That's why you'll notice in the description of the video, it's called How Do You Deal with Anger? Hopefully I can get people to interact and stay on, because this platform that I'm using, normally people will join, they'll be scrolling, they'll join, they'll fall on, and then they'll just keep scrolling. So it's kind of going to be a hit or miss with having interactions and having people talk about the whole topic. So before I go into the comments and while I'm waiting for people to hop on and to hopefully stay on and try to get conversation out of them, I'm just going to start doing my little my own, I guess you'll call it a monologue. That way on YouTube I'll have my introduction and you guys will know what the whole video is about. I'll do that while I'm waiting for people to hop on and to stay on and to hopefully try to answer the question that I've popped, on that I put on the title. And the topic for this video is it's not how to, it's how do you deal with anger. And I thought, being that today I went to the DMV, and the DMV is well known for being a place to make people crazy and angry, it would be a good day to make a YouTube video talking about the topic about how we keep ourselves from falling into anger. Because I noticed the minute that I got there was a lot of people that were already losing their tempers, and they didn't even get out of the car, and you could already see that they were dealing with some type of issue that was making them act a certain way. There was people who were walking and would see the long line at the DMV, and they were just falling apart as they're walking, looking at everybody, giving faces. There was one lady who was walking, and she saw this older gentleman coming towards her, and she kind of starts like doing this, like swatting a fly. And the gentleman didn't pay attention to her. He just walked past her, and she starts talking to herself, saying, you see somebody coming, you're not going to move. Like, what if that was a car? She's completely talking to herself. She's in her anger, and she's just lost. And she's kind of looking at the crowd to see if, someone's going to say something or agree with her, or I don't know how to explain it, but she just, I guess she had to say it out loud, and she made some kind of thought out of it, and took it personal that the person who was walking towards her wasn't looking at her, and the guy who she was swatting just kept walking, didn't turn around, he didn't react to her. He just kind of went on with his day as she kind of broke down and got angry. And the whole DMV, I know people have gone to the DMV to do license renewals and stuff like that, and you've seen these situations where people just flip out. Today I saw that lady who was trying to make a scene. I experienced somebody crying because they didn't have the proper paperwork and were turned away and had to go do something else another day. I saw people very nervous that they were surprised that they had to retake the test, the one you do on the computer, which I also had to do. I didn't know that when you get a new license, because I had been in Arizona for a bit, and I came back, and I had to go and get a new California license because I only had Arizona license, and I need it for work now, so I had to go and get a new one. And I did not know that I was going to have to retake the whole test. Not the whole test. I think I did 25 questions instead of 40. But I wasn't prepared for it, and I barely passed. I think you're only allowed to miss 3 questions, and I missed exactly 3. And if you've taken the test lately, or at all ever, well, I guess it's not so much common sense when you're first starting to drive, but as an adult, it's all common sense. It's like little situations that you're already supposed to know about driving on the road. And it's a very easy test. I didn't study too long. I did grab a handbook, and I was reading it as the numbers were being called. But I didn't read the whole thing. But the questions that I missed were nothing difficult. It was just kind of like they weren't worded properly. So it made me it tricked me. I think one of them that comes to mind is, if somebody is tailgating you, what would you do? And then one says speed up, which I'm like, no, you don't speed up, because then that makes them go faster behind you, and then you're speeding. And the other one was, you merge into another lane, like you get out of their way. And then there was step on your brake. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, well, if someone's tailgating me, I'm going to slow down so that they know that, I'm going to go at my speed and you can go around me. So I answered step on the brake, and I got it wrong. So it was just the wording. I guess now that I think about it, stepping on the brake, it kind of sounds like slamming or brake checking. So I could see why I was wrong. The answer was that you merge to the next lane. But the question didn't specify whether I'm in a 1 lane or a 3 lane. So how do I know that there's another lane to merge into? So it was things like that where I overthought it and I answered incorrectly. But I got 3 wrong, and I luckily passed. Luckily, I only had 25 questions rather than the 40, because I think if I would have had the 40, it would have been possible for me to get one more wrong. But that was very surprising that I had to retake the test. And there was a lot of people who also got surprised, who didn't handle the situation properly. One woman was like in line to take the test, and then all of a sudden she just starts breaking out like, I can't do this. I'm sorry. Like, she's talking to the person at the desk. Is like, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I have to go home. I haven't studied. I have to do this another day. And the person behind the desk, if you've been at the DMV, they're not always very... They're very direct. They're not there to be like a greeter or a McDonald's. You know, there's not about customer service there so much. It's kind of like, what do you need? Do you have this? You don't have it? All right, get out of my line, and stuff like that. So this girl starts breaking down, like, I can't do this. I didn't study. I have to go. I'm so sorry. And the girl at the desk is just like, okay, we'll see you another day. But the whole experience at the DMV, people were just going nuts and losing it, and couldn't hold it together. And these were adults. It was interesting to see. You'll see this like in portions throughout your life, where you'll see somebody overreact at a bar, and you're like, oh, but they're drinking. That happens when people drink. You'll see people overreacting, like in certain situations, getting too angry with people in traffic or whatever it is. But at the DMV, you get so much of it within like 2 hours that you're there. You start noticing that people have a really poor way of dealing with things, and that anger really has a control over everybody. And it's like the DMV is a prime example of like what anger could cause people to do out in the real world. And it's one of the craziest things, but you know, you have to deal with the whole anger thing. What's up, brother? Eric just joined, coworker. But yeah, so that's basically my whole intro to this video. If people are still watching, because I know that they scroll by, I'm making a live. I'm on one platform doing a live, and I'm trying to get people to join and have conversation. That's why the title is asking a question. It says, how do you deal with anger? And then I'm going to save this video and upload it into my YouTube and make an episode of my podcast of overcoming obstacles. That's why if you're scrolling and just happen to fall into it, that's why I'm talking so much and not answering questions. I don't think I had too many people ask anything or answer the question. And Eric, I said what's up to you because I recognize you, and I had to say what's up. But let's see. I didn't have anyone ask anything or say anything other than someone who looks like a robot and probably got off. Yeah, but that's my experience for the day that made me come up with this live, was having to go to the DMV and experiencing all these different people who I saw anger overcome and bring something out of them that that everybody is dealing with. And you see it a lot throughout your whole life, and it's probably happened to you where you flip out or you overreact about something, and then you get angry and you start it's almost like blacking out on alcohol. You lose control and you become something else or somebody else. And you don't notice that it's happening to you, but it's very noticeable to everybody else. How do I deal with anger? The way that I deal with it nowadays, it all started with changing my attitude, honestly, and focusing on the thoughts, being able to recognize when I'm overreacting and when situations make stories up in my head or start telling me that this is too hard, it's too hot. Like at work, for example, that's the perfect example of situations. Anytime you're doing any difficult task, it's that little snowball or ripple effect where you're doing your job and it's too hot, you're running out of time, you're behind, whatever, you have to go up a pair of stairs, and then that thought pops in your head. Oh man, it's way too hot in here. Oh, another package. Look at all the things that you have left to deliver. I don't understand why they always have to put these together. And then it goes on and on and on. And it's just being able to like catch that first thought. It's too hot. And then whatever. Don't pay attention to it. Just kind of like keep going and doing whatever it is you're doing. And then something else pops up. Why did they put all these together? Now you have to walk around. It's whatever. You just look at it. You hear it out. You kind of understand that it's going on inside of you. That thought, right? That thinking process is going on inside of you. But if you really stop to think about it, it's not you who's kind of creating that. It's like you have a little kid inside of you complaining all the time, right? I know people have children. If you've ever gone to like a theme park or something, or just a whole day, spend a whole day with your kid, and it's hot, I'm hungry, when are we going home, right? It's like you have a little child inside of you who's just consistently always complaining and trying to, who can't take it, basically. And it's your job as a parent, but in this situation, it's your job to recognize that that's kind of like something different, something else. And you kind of have to be the one to stay strong and say, yeah, I know it's hot, but I need to see this through. It's only going to get hotter. I know I have to go walk around and drop these off, but if I sit here and I keep thinking about it, then I'm just going to fall more behind. I'm going to have more things that I have to do. Yeah, I know that my feet hurt, but what am I going to do? My feet hurt. Maybe tomorrow my feet will get stronger and I won't feel it as much. But what I do personally, now that I can recognize when those thoughts start happening, is kind of let them happen and continue doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And kind of, it's not like you're trying to fight it. You can't really fight it. It's acknowledging them, watching them, letting them come in and letting them go out, and you just focus on whatever you're doing, stay present, and keep going in whatever it is, whatever situation it is. And that's like with work. That's if you have to complete something throughout your day. The way that I would deal with it, like, say that I'm alone and I start getting angry about situation in my life, like what I'm going through. If I were to get angry alone at this, say I'm getting angry right now, I would just sit down and start watching all the thoughts that are going through my head and separate myself from those thoughts and watch them like they're a movie and just let them go in one ear and out the other and not hold on to any of them or let them create any type of feeling. And it's basically sitting inside of your suffering. You don't fight it. You don't try to change it. You don't try to run away from it. Go to the gym, grab coffee. You sit down and you take the time to just observe what's going on inside of you, and it ends. It stops. And you realize that it was no big deal, and it kind of wasn't you. It was that little kid inside of you. We have to see the positive side of things, definitely. I'd rather be at the theme park than at work. No, most definitely. Let's see. We're getting some... How do you deal with work, man? I mean, not work. How do you deal with anger? Try to get more conversation out of people. But that's basically how I deal with things. Leroy. Nice question, man. That's the other thing about live. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm on a live. Not unalive. I am on a live. And I'm going to save this video. I'm going to try to keep it 20 minutes so that I could actually upload it this time. I'm going through my comments, trying to get interactions with people so that I actually have a topic for the video, and then the people on this live will hopefully get into the conversation and talk about things. But usually what happens when I'm on a live, it's a lot of different personalities, and just like every other platform, you get your people who want to just joke around and troll, which is fine. Do what you gotta do. It's kind of like an open invitation for that. So that's social media. Yeah, but you'll get people who are just like having fun with it, which is their life, right? To each their own. Send me the link for the live. Are you referring to the YouTube video I'm going to make later, or are you talking about the link for this live? I don't know how to do that. I barely started. Oh, send you the video later. If I can upload it, because I've done a video. I tried it last time, but I think I did the video for too long. And since I'm doing everything on my phone, it took me it wasn't sending to YouTube. So I'm trying to keep this one short. I don't know what time I started. I should have kept track. But yeah, the whole goal into starting my podcast, and eventually, this is step one, right? Record on live, have a way for people to interact and to join the conversation, or just get involved with what I'm talking about. That's why I titled this. There's a question in the title, but people aren't going to pay attention to that. I'm going to post it up on YouTube, and then eventually what I want to do is be able to go live once I've gotten enough people to kind of pick up on the podcast. I kind of want to get a way for people to call in and actually have live callers, have people talk, have conversation with people. And the reason for that is because I've watched so many videos myself or listened to radio talk shows where just hearing people have conversation about certain topics have helped me in my life, where I'm like, I go through that too. Like, that's so weird that exactly what I'm going through in my life right now, they're talking about in this conversation. And things just start kind of clicking, and you get tips and tricks on how to, go through life. It's a way of you're not really supposed to listen to what people tell you to do. It's kind of a thing to go out and live and do it on your own. So I'm not trying to give people advice, but when two people talk about something, or when you hear someone tell their story, a lot comes out of them that I don't think they realize it's happening. And then the listener, whoever's listening, just starts hearing themselves in them for some reason. And it's just a good way of kind of finding truth in what people are talking about, and understanding that maybe sometimes you're not going through situations that you thought you were going through by yourself. It happens at work all the time. If I get there early and I start talking to the other drivers about the routes or situations that happen, I might have had trouble finishing a route or doing something. Like, for example, the ad hoc that I usually do is very hard. And I kept thinking, man, they keep having to come rescue me. I must be bad at this, blah, blah, blah. But I had a conversation in the morning about it. And then I'd come to realize that everybody else has had trouble with the same thing that I have. And then it showed me that I wasn't the only one, and I had no reason to be kind of overthinking about what was happening. I don't know who that is. Did I miss something? Oliver, who are you talking about? Because I don't know what you're talking about. If anybody's watching, did you notice the title of the video? How do you deal with anger? Do you have any stories, anything to talk about, and a moment when you were angry? How do you guys deal with anger? I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube and on this platform where I'm live, where people's switch is just flipped and they cause mayhem and get arrested or hurt people. And the best way that I could explain it is like being blacked out on alcohol, where anger overcomes you and then you just start doing things that you would never do if you were not angry, or if it wasn't for anger taking over. So have you guys ever gone through anything that caused you to get angry, and you felt that anger took control? And how did you handle it? Did something happen? Did you see any situations like that? Or were there any personal experiences where you kind of had to hold things together while that fire was burning? So far, it's very... I've gotten some questions. I've gotten some trolls. I've gotten some likes. I've gotten some good comments. I really want to get more people to talk about the topic, or just to talk about anything. Get an interaction. The last time I looked at the clock, it was 3:07, so I'm going to try to keep this under 25 minutes. Just so that I'll have a better chance of uploading it to YouTube. But in that 25 minutes, I'm hoping that I get at least... I've gotten one person to interact. I was able to tell them how I deal with my anger. But I want somebody to answer the question of how to deal, or how they deal with anger. But so far, nobody has gotten involved with the question. I got one question of, do you support Jenna's? I see. It was a play on words. I understand the question now. He was trying to get me to talk about something. I think I know where he was going with it too. So anybody who's watching, any situations where you had to deal with anger, and how did you handle it? What was going on when you had to overcome anger? Has anger ever made you do something that you would have never done if you didn't get angry in the first place? Or have you overcome anger? And it's, since I'm not getting anybody to stick onto the live, I'll keep talking to the YouTube audience. Today we see a lot of people who lose control because of anger. The topic, I have somebody asking a question for everybody on YouTube. That's why I'm going to go back to this and try to get them to answer it. But the title is called, How Do You Deal with Anger? Do you have any stories about it, sir? I appreciate you asked the question, but I'm trying to get people to answer my question and get involved so that I can make a YouTube video about this. So, how do you deal with anger? Any stories? Anything about a time you got angry and you noticed yourself kind of lose control? Or where you had to kind of regain control about it? You dealt... Oh, nice. I got an answer. I'm not going to read the whole name, just because sometimes people like to troll and they'll make me say some silly things, and I'm going to post this up on YouTube later. I got one answer that says, I dealt with anger 2 ways, by becoming a boxer and following Christ. So you found a way to... How do you deal with anger through boxing and through Christ, sir? Is it something... He said, absolutely, when I was atheist, anger plagued my life. I felt angry constantly, even at little. I see it all the time, everywhere. People get angry and it overcomes them very easily, and then you end up seeing them on YouTube flipping, racks of candy at some store, or throwing food at people at the driveway, or sometimes even committing, bigger violent acts on people. So, what do you think anger is? We all have it. And when we get into a moment of anger, something overcomes us and it's almost uncontrollable. It says, boxing allowed me to release the pressure physically and give it someone to put it towards in a safe way. So it helped you, so anger is passion. Interesting. Anger is passion. Huh. So, people who don't do boxing and cry spiritually, calm my spirit to ease my anger that way. God bless with your video. Very interesting. So the way that this the way I'm seeing it, and I can be completely wrong. I'm just reading the comments and trying to see what he means by it. Is he found a way to channel his anger, and instead of holding it in, he found a way to get it out. And also he uses Christ to spiritually calm the spirit, to ease my anger that way, to calm his spirit, to ease my anger that way. So anger is passion. I could see that. You said something about spirituality, and I wondered, you ever thought about anger being kind of like a spirit? Because that kind of like what I was trying to say when I said anger overcomes you and makes you do things that you would never do. It's kind of like blacking out on alcohol. So I think, it's just because you brought up the calms my spirit, do you think anger could be a spirit all on its own? And it could kind of be a way of something else that comes out of us or has taken control? The spirit of anger, if you would. I think he hopped off. And there's a show where it kind of showed me anger and demonic possession in like a whole new perspective, where there was an angry I think the show was Chosen. It's a new, it's like the Bible, but it's the new version, the new series of it. And one of the first episodes had to do with Mary Magdalene. And I don't know if people have read the Bible or anything, but she gets possessed, and a priest comes and sees her, and she's possessed, and she has a demon inside of her and all that. In the show, even though she looks completely possessed, it's more of the perspective where she's under the influence of alcohol. She's very angry and throwing things around. And it just looks like a very, very upset woman. And that's when I was like, well, the Bible's old, and, the wording, the translation's kind of different. We've translated it differently. So maybe demonic possession could mean this uncontrollable anger that overcomes us and makes us do crazy things. That's why I'm asking, do you think anger is like a spirit itself, and it can possess you and cause you to do unthinkable acts of violence, or make you hate someone so much that you go out and hurt them, or want to do something to hurt them, or completely possess you like a demonic experience? Do you think that's what anger could be, or that's what they could be talking about when they say demonic possession? It's just the spirit of anger. Let's see, I think I'm at 24 minutes. I'm trying to keep it a little bit short so that I can save this and upload it to YouTube. But yeah, I got two different people to interact with the question that I put up on my title page, which is awesome. It gave me a chance to keep up the conversation. So thank you. Let me try to pronounce the name, and hopefully it's not a troll name. Thank you, Christus Rex and Eric, for getting involved with the conversation. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I think I'm going to keep this one short, just so that I can try to upload the whole thing and be able to put my introduction and then put the outro and put my music. But it was a good start. I got 2 people to get involved. One person who is a friend, so thank you, Eric, for hopping in and helping me create this first video, and actually getting some form of interaction from this platform that I went live on. And thank you, Christus Rex, for taking the time and answering and giving me your way of dealing with anger and your perspective on things. This was a good start to what I'm trying to do. The whole purpose of doing it on live is so that I can get people to interact, and hopefully as time goes by, I'll be able to do this on YouTube and have actual conversations where people can call in. So I'm going to end the video here. If you are on live, thank you for dropping in. If you didn't get to see the whole video, I'm going to post this up on YouTube. You can go to my page on here. If you're on this live, go to my page. I have a post that has my profile for YouTube that you can see the name, and hopefully I'll be able to upload this to YouTube and everybody will be able to watch it back and see what I was saying in the beginning and see my answers to the 2 guests that actually got involved with the conversation. So I'm going to bring in the music and my voice will fade out. Goodbye to everybody on live, and if you're on YouTube, thank you for taking the time to watch. Hopefully I got this uploaded, and this will be the first Overcoming Obstacles podcast where I actually had people get involved with the conversation. I'll see you guys in the next one. Definitely we'll be back on this live and trying to do this consistently. So if this works out, it'll be a good way to get episodes onto my YouTube, and if it doesn't, then I'll keep doing it on live until I can figure out another way, because there is always another way. I'll talk to you guys next time. Let the music completely go in now.